welcome to Board Game Empire. We're going to be showing you an overview and review of Tiny Towns by AEG Games. So this is a puzzle, I would say puzzle type game, because you're trying to get resources, the correct resources in the correct pattern to build a certain building in your little town. And the person with the most points at the end, which are determined by the cards tell you the points you get for that particular building, or if it corresponds with another building, which I'll go over that in just a moment. So first player is the person that has the first player token, which is this little hammer. There's 5 resources available: wood, wheat, brick, glass, and stone. And you can see these same color cubes are depicted on each of these cards. And there are a good variety. This is the beginner cards they suggest you play with on your first game. But as you can see, there's many different versions of each type. So once you've got the first game under your belt, you could literally just randomly choose one for each of these type buildings, because they all have the same building represented, but a different type building and
different pattern, different
everything.
Point structure.
Yeah.
And there are expansions to this game as well.
So that does give this game a lot of replayability based on that. So in the beginner game, you're going to have the factory, the chapel, tavern, farm, cottage, well, and theater. And like I said, you're going to be trying to get the patterns that are shown on the card. I did a few for the video. So the tavern is glass and 2 brick. And you can see I have it here. So when you complete that, you'll just put these back in the supply. And since I had them on, you could put them on any of this building, on any of the spaces that any of the cubes were on. So you're going to want to be strategic about that. So I would put this in the corner, because you want to leave plenty of room to complete other patterns. If you put it here or here, you're basically limiting yourself. Or if you put it like right there, that's taking away a lot of prime real estate basically to complete more cards. So you want to be strategic in that when you're placing your buildings. So basically the way the round goes, okay, you start out with an empty board, and you get 1 card, a monument card. You're dealt 2, and then you choose one of them, and you have the little monument that you'll get to place if you complete that pattern. And all the monuments have different scoring structures or things that they have you do once you place that monument. So you always want to be mindful of that as well, trying to get that on your board. So the taverns, the way they work, they score based on how many you have. 5 is the max amount of points. For 5 taverns, you would get 20 points. 1, you only get 2 points. 2, you get 5 points. And so it goes up from there based on how many of these you have on your board. Anything beyond 5 there's no reason to go there. The chapels, which are these, you get points on these for each fed cottage you have. So you can see they kind of all work off each other. The cottages are are pretty easy. The cottage and the wells are one of the easiest to build. The cottages only have 3 cubes. So you're going to want to build those, but to have a cottage, you need a farm to feed the cottage. So the farm is the most important part to build as quickly as you can, because it feeds up to 4 cottages. Then you could start building those cottages. The chapel, once you have some cottages and a farm, that one will get 1 point for each fed cottage. So you could see how it's a progressive type game in that sense. The wells, you get points for if they're located next to a cottage. So if you had it here and you had a cottage like this, and it has to be adjacent, it can't be diagonal, you would get 4 points for that 1 well, because it has all those cottages near it. The theater, it's 1 for each other unique building in the same row. So if you have the theater here, you would get 3 points because it has 3 other unique buildings. There's no unique buildings going this way because you already have the cottage there. If you have this one, however, you would get 4 points for it. So you got to pay attention to how you get the points. The factory, you get to place any resource, and then at the beginning of the turn, when it's your turn, you're going to be calling out a resource, one of the 5. Everyone has to place that resource on their board. So that makes it difficult to complete some of these if you're going for one thing and someone's calling a different resource. However, if you have this and they call the whatever color cube you have, you may place any other cube you want instead of that one if you have the factory with that resource on it. So the factory doesn't get you points, but it allows you to manipulate which resource you place if they happen to call the one you have. I will say I had wood on mine and he didn't call it one time the whole game. So.
Oh, darn.
So it did not benefit me at all. But it's a very, that's basically it. It's an easy game to learn, and the hardest part then is just figuring out the strategy. It's easy to learn but hard to master because you're trying to figure out the best way to go about it, and of course you're also dependent on them calling the resource you need. So you have to, if they call the one you're not working on at the time, you got to figure out where to place that on your board to where it won't hinder you later. And then you're always kind of switching up your strategy based on what cubes you have.
But you can also determine on what they're going to call by looking, because the boards are open, so you're able to see what your opponents are doing.
Yeah. And they're in a beginner game if you want. We didn't do this rule. It's called the pattern rule. If you want, you can make it to where up to 2 you can place off of your board instead of on your board. You don't get to use them later, but it kind of gives you a free pass 2 turns if they called one that you didn't want. We didn't do that. We just basically played it the standard way. But it was, I found it enjoyable. What did you think about it?
I think it kind of has that Tetris kind of feel because you're kind of placing and you're pattern building. And then also it has that point structure. So you have kind of like a point salad because determine on where you put the pieces. And once you build the buildings, that will determine your points at the end of the game. And then when you play with the more, not the beginner ones, there are way more advanced ways to collect points. And like I said, they have expansions. So the theme is really good. It's a very easy game to teach. This is probably, I'm guessing 1.5, 1.8 in complexity to 5. And the components are really nice. Of course, this by AEG, they make a lot of games, so the components are always good. But I'm giving this a 7.5. I think this is really good. I think when you incorporate more of the later cards, it's going to advance the game. And then also there's expansions, which will definitely give more, replayability throughout. So really good game, family friendly, really easy to teach. You could teach this at a very young age. So great game.
Yeah, I agree. If you enjoy puzzle type games, you would enjoy this game. I enjoy puzzles, so this would be not jigsaw puzzles, but puzzle games.
No, you don't.
Puzzle games. Not jigsaw puzzles.
She gets frustrated with that.
but yeah, I enjoy the patterns and pattern building. So if you're that type of game player and enjoy the pattern building type games, you would really enjoy this game. And like you said, there's a lot of replayability because there's a ton of different cards, expansions. So it would never get old. You could always have, not always, but you could have a lot of new games to you that you've not played before because of the variety of cards. The components are really nice. They're really nice wood. All the components are wood. So I I think I would also give this game a 7.5. Again, we haven't played the more complex cards. It would probably be higher maybe if we had an opportunity to play that next. But it's still a solid 7.5 on this game. We enjoyed playing this game. So, did you have anything else to say? So if there's if this is a game you think you might like, we will put the link in the description. Hopefully this video helped you to decide whether this is a game you might want to put in your collection. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like. Feel free to leave a comment or question, and we can get to that as soon as possible. We hope you're already subscribed, but if not, please subscribe to our channel, and we look forward to seeing you next time.